Thank you, Nick, and thank you again for the opportunity to present today. Before I begin, I want to make sure you guys can see the presentation.
Perfect.
Very good. Okay, so as Nick was saying, today we are going to talk about the integration of TSMO into our projects and how the Florida Department of Transportation and our district in particular integrates the guidance from the top that is in reference to this topic. So I'm gonna give a brief overview for those of you that are not familiar with FDOT and District 6, and then I'm gonna talk about the approach of the department as well as some of the practices that we have started and carried out over the years here in District 6. So for those of you that are not familiar, the Florida Department of Transportation, we are divided, as you see here, into 7 districts, as well as the Florida Turnpike. And the part that you see in red is what encompasses District 6, which is made up of Miami-Dade County and Monroe County. We have a very large population, but above that, we have a large number of visitors on a yearly basis that come to our district, not just to enjoy, the amenities of Miami-Dade, but also the beautiful Florida Keys. Out of the center miles that we have here in the district, we have over the years been able to equip a lot of them with ITS devices. All of that occurs and was envisioned through the creation of our communications hub, our Sunguide TMC, which it is celebrated last year, our 20-year anniversary. We had a vision of having a facility that could accommodate all the growing needs of our TSMO program. And today, I can say that we have fully integrated regional hub. As you can see here, we offer a lot of TSMO services, and we have deployed a lot of infrastructure that has helped us carry out those services. We have the traditional ITS infrastructure, which is what we started with about 10 to 15 years ago. And then more recently, we have integrated new technologies or advanced technologies like autonomous driving, connected vehicle, etc. So how is it that what we do relates to the TOM? Well, we have followed the guidance really closely. Our approach and FDOT's approach to TSMO aligns with the framework that the TOM lays out. And what we mean by that is that we don't treat TSMO as an add-on. We start thinking about TSMO early on from the planning through the operations. And we evaluate TSMO strategies at first. And that way we have learned, as you will see in later on in the presentation, that we can definitely avoid or defer costly capacity improvements. This particular chapter, where you guys see here, the foundation that we have followed here in District 6, as well as the department. So how is it that we follow the guidance? Well, FDOT does a really good job at having a guiding framework for all the districts, including the Florida Turnpike. And, we can see how in each of these guiding documents, TSMO is at the forefront. It has been taken into account. For example, for the PD&E manual that we have, the evaluation of TSMO as an alternative has to be done before considering build alternatives. The FDOT design manual has TSMO well integrated into it, and the updates over the last 15 years have made it more robust in that aspect. This manual, as you guys know, will include, construction details and relevant data on the various types of ITS systems that we deploy. In the construction side, the standard specifications outline the requirements, and we also see that ITS and TSMO are well integrated into the standard specs. And then finally, FDOT also has a TSMO strategic plan, which is actually being updated in 2025. And this is what has set our statewide direction, priorities, as well as performance targets. So the other thing that we follow here at FDOT is a very well-established system engineering process. We have, following the guidance of federal regulations, we have an approach that we follow from the very concept and requirements stage all the way to implementation, system testing, validation. And as you guys saw on the guidance that the TOM provides, we also go into operations, maintenance, etc. The other part that FDOT does really well is that we have a very well-defined institutional support framework to provide a forum for all of the districts, as well as the Turnpike and Central Office, to share, to discuss, and to showcase the ITS and TSMO strategies that each of us are implementing, to talk about the initiatives that are being deployed statewide. And, as you see here, we have a working group that is made up of not just central office folks, but also representatives from all the TSMO offices throughout the district. We also have well-established TSMO task teams, and these are also a forum where all of us participate statewide, and we talk about specific areas. So, for example, we have a connected vehicle task team, runway driving task team, etc. And in that, we discuss, the ongoing projects, the initiatives, there's a lot of sharing of information. If we have questions regarding the topic, this provides us a venue for us to be able to work those out. We also have publications like the TSMO Disseminator, which is a newsletter that has Florida-related TSMO articles. And then finally, FDOT is a firm believer in workforce development. So since many years ago, a lot of emphasis has been placed on training the staff, not just those of us that work directly with TSMO, but across the different areas, providing training and development in TSMO topics. So some of those resources that FDOT provides, as you can see here, are computer-based trainings, and these are developed, through some of those task teams that I showed you earlier. And, there is a very good framework that has been established where all of us can provide input into the various trainings that are being developed. How? By sharing our lessons learned from all of our ITS TSMO deployments. And these, trainings are not, as I said before, they are provided for all FDOT employees. The other thing that we established, and this now is talking about District 6 here, Miami-Dade and Monroe, as I mentioned before, is we have a TSMO core group, and this was created about a decade ago. There is participation in this core group from all of the units, the functional units here in the district, and that includes planning, design, construction. TSMO obviously leads this effort. And we need to discuss topics related to ongoing projects, upcoming capital projects. We bring in participants that are from the local agencies or from the region that give us presentations and allow us a place to share how TSMO is being integrated into the different projects, not just the projects that are led by District 6, but also those that are being led by our local partners. Talking about, maintaining a partnership with our local partners and how that is important for being able to keep TSMO at the forefront of every project that basically is going to be implemented. We have several different efforts that some of them are led by us and some of them we participate in, where we coordinate not just at the local district level, but at the regional level with our partners. For example, as part of the Southeast Florida Transportation Council, there is a regional transportation technical advisory committee on TSMO, a TSMO subcommittee. And, we meet on a regular basis, and we have representatives there from Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade County, as well as local agencies, etc. In those, we discuss similar things as we do at the local level in the core group meeting, which is, projects that are including TSMO. We have an opportunity to share lessons learned with our partners and to introduce items that are useful for those that are just starting to implement TSMO or ITS in their local area, in their sections or in their district, as well as those that have more developed systems that are already in operation. And so this is also something that we have seen has a lot of success when it comes to making sure that we don't treat TSMO as an afterthought. As you guys saw before, from chapter 15 of the COM, we are following that structure of planning, programming, etc. And on the planning side, here in District 6, we have several initiatives. The one that you guys see here, we started approximately in the 2019-2020 timeframe. And that is when we brought in a consultant to help us develop a TSMO master plan. And this TSMO master plan has been completed and continues to be updated on a regular basis. We use this to guide our long-term strategy and investment, including viable TSMO strategies within the district. We have seen that taking into account not just the capital cost, but also as this plan contains, we think about operations, maintenance costs, and other aspects that are very important in TSMO. For example, whenever you have an application, you typically need a license to go with it. And these are things that need to be planned for, not just the capital investment, or the construction costs, but thinking, personnel to operate, things that you need to maintain the system, etc. We found that when we program holistically, we have a lot better results. As I was saying before, through the use of our TSMO master plan and through these other venues, we are thinking about cost beyond capital. We also think about technologies, for example, the project that I'm gonna show you towards the end of this presentation that are new for deployment in our district, for example, and many of these projects require an evaluation by a third party, such as a state university, et cetera. So planning for that is also an important part of the process. The other thing that we have implemented here in District 6 is, some of you may know, but we actually operate and maintain a traffic signal system in the entire Monroe County, in the state highway system. So our office, it has been put in charge by our district of making sure that we have all the resources needed to operate that corridor. And, you know, we began this effort back in 2018, and the project you'll see will show you the things that we have implemented, but on the integration and the efforts that we found to be necessary, we determined that it is important to make sure that before any project is done in this corridor, the designers, the planners, et cetera, think about what are the TSMO needs, what is it that our office will need to be able to operate, let's say, if it is a new traffic signal that is being implemented, what do we need, communications, et cetera, to be able to operate it and maintain it efficiently from our Transportation Management Center, or TMC. So we developed this scoping checklist that we use, and these are done for all of the projects that we do, including push button projects, you know, et cetera. The other thing is that we are very involved in the design and construction as well as post-design phases of every project. One thing that we were able to do is that we are included as a main reviewer in our program, the Electronic Review Comments Program, which is where all of our projects go to obtain comments from, you know, all the different units within FDOT. We review a very large amount of projects, as you can imagine. And every time we have an opportunity to identify a project that perhaps went through the planning and the PD&E and did not have TSMO implemented, we have an opportunity to catch it early on before it goes into full, you know, final design and construction, so that we can start coordinating that early and ensuring that the things that are being built in the future are including TSMO in them, since we in the end will be the ones operating and maintaining. The other thing is, you know, once the construction phases begin, our office is involved throughout the project, all the way from the beginning. In many of our large projects, for example, we have the Golden Glade Interchange project that is multi-million-dollar project in a very congested area of our county. There is a lot of coordination meetings that occur between the CEI and just the TSMO office, because all of those items that are TSMO related, you know, fiber, relocating devices, et cetera, all of those have to be included in the schedule in a way that we can have continuous operation of the roadway throughout construction. So we coordinate, we have a construction coordinator that is employed full-time in our facility, and part of their job is to make sure that we are keeping track of all of the construction projects, large ones like the one I mentioned, as well as the small ones. We have, as you see here in the screen, a very active participation, or at least some oversight on, you know, the processes of implementation, testing, integration of devices, as well as making sure that every single ITS device that is being I'm sorry, I missed the word, implemented in the field, that is being built or installed is the word that I was looking for. We can account for, because as you can imagine, we have to make sure that after final acceptance of those projects, we have, the spare parts to be able to maintain it. We have it well in our records what these devices are, for our purposes of making sure that we're always ready to keep them operating. So the other thing is in operations and maintenance. We, as you guys saw at the beginning, the Tom, stresses that operations and maintenance isn't the end of the line. It is something that we have to continuously know throughout and keep in mind throughout the various phases of a project. So we have developed guidance, for our staff, FDOT staff, consultants, etc., ensuring that we have consistency throughout our operations as well as our maintenance. And we also leverage, the statewide ATMS platforms that continuously are updated to be able to meet our needs for operations and maintenance at the district level as well as statewide. The other thing in terms of operations and maintenance is that we track and report our performance in both aspects of that, and we disseminate that information. This obviously is good for the public, but very importantly for our own, colleagues in the department, within the planning, the design, construction, etc. We, whenever we have a chance, take the opportunity to do presentations, to bring them this type of information, letting them know that it is very easy for them to stay on top of everything that we do and to access, our reports and the information that we produce here at the TMC. So the project that I mentioned, to kind of use it as a sample or a case study for the topic that we're talking about today, it's a project that we began drawing up, if I may say, back in 2018 when we took over the operations and maintenance of the state highway system, traffic signals and devices in Monroe County. We identified there was a need for us. If you guys remember the map at the beginning, our Transportation Management Center, or TMC, is located here in Miami-Dade County. And we do the operations of this traffic signal system from here to areas that you see in the map all the way at the end, like Key West, that are about 4 hours away from where we are. And at the TMC, we not only have the operations staff, we also house our maintenance team. So as you can imagine, it was very important for us to ensure that this project in particular was taking into consideration all of the needs that we have to be able to have awareness of what's going on in the corridor, at the various traffic signals, etc., so that our staff can do their job much efficiently. So we started with the systems engineering process, as the Tom, recommends. We worked on developing the project in 2019, and from the very beginning, which is one of the lessons learned you guys will see in a few minutes, we started engaging the stakeholders, because that is another guidance that proves to be very useful to obtain early buy-in into whatever project you are going to be implementing. And that makes a very big difference when it comes to being able to implement the project and have it successfully go through from construction to operations, etc. This project, we did as a design build project. We worked on it throughout 2020, and we were able to let the project as a construction project started over in 2021. And then in 2024, it became fully operational, and our TSMO office, after all the testing and integration, took it over for operations and maintenance. So here, I wanted to pause and show you one of the examples that Nick was mentioning at the beginning about the town guidance on key roles and responsibilities. So this project that I am talking about, by the way, it's called the East Coast Project, or Keys Connecting Overseas to Advance Safe Travel. It is a connected vehicle project that not just has connected vehicle in it, but has a lot of other TSMO components in it. So in this project, you know, in regards to key roles and responsibilities, I led the effort, you know, from way back in 2019 to develop the project. You know, I represented the department as the design project manager, and, you know, did all the coordination with the stakeholders, with the other functional units within the department. We, you know, prepared the scope, we ensured that we programmed the funding, etc. But then, you know, my role as a design PM was later transitioned to the construction project manager, which then took everything that, you know, I had started and assumed that responsibility for the project when it transitioned to the construction phase. They then led the implementation, the oversight of the contractor, and, you know, were responsible for delivering the project. Now, throughout the entire process, the TSMO office continued providing input and acted as, you know, an expert on the subject whenever the PM or the CEI, you know, needed some guidance or had any questions regarding especially the technological aspects of the project. We found that, you know, this continuity and this collaboration with the different offices in the department is what made this project very successful to implement. We had involved the partnership of several entities or agencies that participated in this or are participating in the project, both not only on the FDOT side by including our fleet vehicles, our maintenance vehicles, but also a lot of the local agencies volunteered their you know, fire rescue vehicles, their sheriff's office vehicles, etc., to implement connected vehicle technology in them. So what was the technology that we implemented? We implemented the installation of roadside units in about 59 sites all throughout the 112 miles that you guys saw on the map, that we have the state highway or US 1 across in the Florida Keys. We implemented a smartphone application, and we also, for the benefit of our operations team, we implemented an automated traffic signal performance measure, or ATSPM. On the side of ITS, we have vehicle detection systems that were upgraded. We had an installation throughout the entire corridor of traffic or CCTV cameras so that our operators can have an awareness of the conditions on site. And we set up a communication system to be able to communicate with each and every one of these traffic signals, roads and units, etc. Some of the applications that connected vehicle applications that we implemented, which are now being evaluated by a team from the Florida International University as well as University of Florida. They are doing a before and after evaluation to help us determine the effectiveness of these applications that we implemented through this project. So what were the lessons that we learned? As I said earlier, engaging the stakeholders in the process, getting their buy-in into what it is that you are intending to achieve through the implementation of TSMO, sharing, you know, not just the idea, but also the documentation of what has been success stories from other implementations, you know, throughout Florida, by Florida DOT, but also US DOT and their connected vehicle deployments. And, you know, communicating with these stakeholders, you know, these were local law enforcement agencies, first responders, etc., in very clear and non-technical language to be able to explain to them, this is what we are implementing, you know, explaining the challenges and the reason why this TSMO project was necessary. And doing all of that in kind of a conversation, allowing the stakeholders to also present us with, you know, their questions, their concerns, etc., was something that we learned that really paid off as we were later having to coordinate with each of them to actually implement the technology. The other thing is the building the workforce. So ensuring that our team was ready way ahead of time, utilizing, you know, those resources that FDOT has for us, like the trainings, the in-person trainings, CBT trainings, etc., to ensure that our team, you know, was ready on day one when we took over operations and maintenance responsibility. And then also planning for the future, as the guidance, you know, tells us that we cannot just think about, okay, this was, you know, planned, this was programmed, this was assigned, you know, the project was built, now it's in operations and maintenance. We have to really think, okay, what is next? How do we prepare for the future, ensuring that we are ready to maintain the success of our deployments throughout? And that is the end of my presentation. I'll leave all of you with this safety message for the month of August. Our kids are back to school, so please drive safely. Thank you.